Hello, and a very warm welcome to Evolving Consciousness. And this channel is really about evolving the very perspective of your life, evolving the consciousness. When you talk about consciousness, what does consciousness really mean? It means the way you perceive reality. It means how you perceive yourself and the world in a holistic way. Also, the main focus of this channel is to help you become your best version in different dimensions, and it's got to do more about self-development and not only looking at the personal spheres of your life but achieving excellence in every dimension of your life. We are going to share ideas on different aspects and different scenarios which will contribute to your holistic well-being, which will not only help you propel your success in your material life but also help you advance spiritually. So I'm going to share a few videos, a few topics on this which will be predominantly focused on self-development. So today's topic of discussion is something which has crippled mankind for a long time, but there was a time it really served us, but now it seldom does. It more often than not cripples mankind from achieving its full potential, and that emotion at that particular human feeling is what is called as fear. Fear needs no introduction, because fear is something which has been experienced by mankind since time immemorial. But from the time of the Sivanas, when we lived in this world where we had all deadly animals all around, that really helped us, because that helped us from survival. It helped us from the fear of wild animals. It really served us back then. But today, it only petrifies us and cripples us from achieving or exploiting our full potential. Now, if you look at the very reasons of fear, there is a whole spectrum of reasons, but predominantly there is this fear of failure which has crippled so many people. Fear of failure in any endeavor. What would happen if I fail in this? How would society react? How would I react? There is so many dimensions to this, and the funny thing about fear is, the more you are scared of fear, the more fear tries to chase you. And the more you look at fear in the eye, the more fear wants to get away from you. And it was beautifully told by Ravin Sharma when he said that the more you stop yourself from doing what you fear, you're only adding more fuel to the fear. And the next time it's only going to be more difficult for you to do that activity, because you have hardwired your neurons in such a way that when that situation arises, fear becomes automatic. It becomes a part of your subconscious, that you are not consciously creating fear, but when you encounter that situation, then automatically your body reacts. The only and the most practical and the most fastest way to come out of this situation is to face it. Surely it's going to be very uncomfortable, but the more you face that fear, that neural link, that neural connection is going to weaken. And the more you weaken that connection between fear and that situation, the more you are going to be comfortable with that situation. And I often like to call this aspect about being comfortable with getting uncomfortable. We really need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable if we want to grow in our life. Because remember, growth is the only evidence of life. If you want to know whether you're living or whether you're existing, you need to see whether you're growing. And if you're not growing, then probably you're not living. You're merely existing. And I'm sure none of us want to merely exist. But we want to grow and scale to new dimensions, new horizons, in not only in our experience of life, but in the complete potential of, we need to realize our complete human potential. Because as they rightly say, potential unexpressed turns into pain. And the more you express your potential, the more fulfilled you're going to feel. And let's remember, we all have an expiry date. We come with an expiry date, and when we are on our deathbed, we might have so many regrets that I could have realized my potential, I could have done this, I could have done that. We might have such a big list. and that big list of regrets is something nobody would like to have. And what is this cause of regret? The only cause of regret is at that point of time we didn't face our fears. We just avoided that situation, we avoided the fear, only thinking that it will protect us. But you need to understand the foundation of fear. Fear gives us a false promise of security, but in fact, it is only putting us in a more insecure position. Let me give you an example to better unravel, better elaborate this viewpoint. Suppose someone is very not so comfortable in public speaking, and when he goes out and speak front of an audience of even say 5 to 10 people, and when he starts speaking, he fumbles, he goofs up. And that fumble and goof up probably left an impression in his subconscious mind that is not so good in public speaking. And he got a response from the audience that he was not so good at it, he fumbled, he goofed up, and that subconscious result, that subconscious image of that experience was registered in his subconscious mind. Now that subconscious mind will always tell him that you're not good enough as a public speaker to go and speak out, and that creates fear. And he always tells himself that I'm not good enough, I'm not made for this. And the more you say that, you're strengthening your fear more, and you're not in a secure place to be in. Because sooner or later there's going to be a circumstance, a situation where you have to speak up, and there you're going to fumble, not because that you're not good at it, only because that you allowed your fear to rule you rather than your will to rule you. And on the flip side of it, even if you are not so good at public speaking, but continuously you train yourself, you practice, you face your fears, and the more you face your fear, the more comfortable you become in that particular situation. I like to say this phrase often: becoming comfortable with becoming uncomfortable. Being comfortable and becoming uncomfortable will give you more opportunities, will give you more room and more length and horizons to express your potential, because now you have overcome your fear. And this particular aspect is not only confined to public speaking, it is confined to so many dimensions of our life where fear cripples us. And it is often said that if you really want to grow in life, you need to come out of your comfort zone. And the more you come out of your comfort zone expands. And the more your comfort zone expands, there are no limits to your comfort zone. So essentially, there is nothing that you cannot do once you have this goal of overcoming all the fears in your life. I often like to say fear as false evidence appearing real. FEAR, false evidence appearing real. Meaning, if you reflect back on your own life, most of the fears you had were mere hallucinations, were mere imaginations. You had created a story out of the situation, and you had interpreted, and you had a backstory, and you filled in space for that, and then you created a story and developed fear out of it. All those were nothing but hallucinations. And the more you contemplate on this simple fact, the more you feel like laughing at your own self. The more you feel that fear is nothing but a part of my mind, a part of what I'm thinking. It has nothing to do with reality. And the more you start becoming comfortable with fear, the more you build a relationship with fear, the more fear wants to let go of you. And the more you run away from what you fear, fear is going to chase you till eternity. With that message in mind, the crux of what I'm trying to say is, do what you fear, and that is what is the most practical way to overcome fear. Now, coming to the practicality of this aspect, right? It might sound very impractical to suddenly do what you fear, but let's remember, let's take baby steps. It's not that somebody who doesn't know to swim, I'm not recommending him to jump into the ocean. Obviously not. We really need to approach fear in a very systematic way, in a very pragmatic way. We need to take baby steps. We need to think big, start small, but act now. The more we procrastinate the overcoming fear, the more stronger it's going to get. And interestingly, procrastination, as per modern research, has also been said as a manifestation of fear. Procrastination is essentially because of the fear of failure. The more we procrastinate, then the more the fear of failure builds up. It's basically a manifestation of the fear that we won't be able to do good, so we keep delaying that. And procrastination is also being told is the biggest enemy for any success. I mean, if you want to be successful in any endeavor, even the simplest of goals you have, whether to lose weight or whether to come up in a better fitness, develop a better fitness regime, if you keep procrastinating, then you are only delaying your success, only delaying your results. So, with that, having said that, fear needs to be eliminated at its core, and the more you look at the fear, the more you want to build a relationship with it, the more you experience the fear, the more it wants to let go of you. So next time when fear visits you, look at it at the eye and make fear fear you instead of fear fearing you. Thank you, and meet you in the next video.